Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm making waffles with bacon and eggs, and my son he couldn't find the canned fruit that I did, so he went and bought canned fruit because I had cottage cheese made, and he sat there and bought it, and he didn't know that I had it in the house. So I'm going to sit there and serve the fruit cocktail, but I'm going to put it on a bed of greens and use its own syrup as a side dish to the waffles that I'm making, and there'll be bacon and eggs with it, and this is going to be dinner today. For people up north, you call that lunch, but remember, our schedule is not with yours, because I'm cooking suppers and dinners in the early morning hours. I have my lunch at 10 o'clock, or my dinner. It's just a crazy, because everybody's on a different schedule in my house. I know it sounds weird, but I'm hoping someday I'll have a normal day, but right now I don't. So let's get these things going. I'm going to be changing this recipe all over the place. You want 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, I'm putting everything in the bowl, so as I tell you, just put it in a mixing bowl right now. Going to be adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder. No, wait, I gotta hang that up. You need to add 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour before I jump ahead of myself. Okay, now we got the 2 cups of flour. All right, we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now I'm using my homemade. All right, now they say to add baking soda to this, but I am not adding baking soda to this because I'm going to use my discard, my sourdough discard on this, and I want to know, and well, not really know, well, the flavor wise, yes, but if you make your own baking powder, you can't use the one in the store with baking soda that you use with baking soda, because this one will rise by itself. It doesn't need that help of the extra baking soda. So we're going to add 2 teaspoons of this. Now, if you are not going to use a sourdough culture, you're going to have to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. All right, if you're not using the culture, because I'm using my sourdough culture discard. Discard just means extra that I have sitting around. I don't need that baking soda, and because I make my own baking powder, I pretty much wiped out baking soda in my recipes. Now in the salt department, we need 1/2 teaspoon. Oh, 1/2 teaspoon, yeah. Almost forgot for a minute. We're going to mix this up. Now I'm going to go through this part again. I'm just mixing them up in the bowl before I go much further. I'm going to bring the book over here and I'm going to read it. This is going to be light whole wheat sourdough discard waffles. But if you want to make a light whole wheat and you don't have the discard, this is what you will be doing. You will need 2 cups, well, no, scratch that. You need 1.5 cups all-purpose flour and 1/2 cup of whole wheat. You will need 1 teaspoon of soda and 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, now if you are, there's different ways of doing this. This is why it might get a little confusing. Now, if you're using homemade baking powder and you don't have the sourdough discard, bypass the baking soda completely. So see, there's 3 ways you can do it. If you're just making it and you are using your sourdough discard culture, you're just going to use 2 teaspoons of the baking powder. If you're using homemade baking powder, you just want to make them light whole wheat, just use the baking powder. But if you are using the baking powder from the store, you make the mixture of for the light whole wheat, but you have to add 1 teaspoon baking soda. That's the difference. So according to how you add certain things, you have to change the combination around. I had to learn that, like I said, I spent a lot of time learning how to do this. So a lot of things went into the trash or down into the garbage disposal because we had those. I don't have them anymore. All right, you need 6 tablespoons of shortening. I'm going to use, you're going to have to cut it in. So you're going to need a pastry cutter or 2 knives to do that. If you're wondering which butter I'm using, I'm actually using my modified butters that I make, and I'm showing you how to make it. If you don't find the recipe, you can ask me and I will make it again for you. Now you have to cut this in because you need it in small pieces. A lot of people use shortening, but I didn't want to use shortening today, so I wanted to use the butter that I made. And I think it has better flavor. See, a lot of people will use their sourdough discard with white flour, but because I use that whole wheat and stuff, I'm making it even more nutritious, and there will be B vitamins and stuff, and minerals and amino acids, and all of that will be in as well. And those cultures can do their little number in the intestines. All right, now I've cut the butter in with my pastry. I told you. You had to mix the dry ingredients, then you're cutting the butter in. Now, Sandra, you need your glasses. Okay. You're going to need 2 cups. 2 cups of buttermilk. You're going to need 2 eggs in another bowl because we have to mix those together. Cups will fit in here just fine. See, I'm going to use this in place. You know, it doesn't work that way, Sandra. Shake again. I'm going to have to wash this lid. I'll do that in a minute. Let's get this mixed. I have like 3 different cultures in here because I have the corn, I have my sponge, and my liquid. So I mix it all up. I'm going to pour 2 cups. This is what I'm going to use in place of the 2 cups of buttermilk. Okay. Give me a minute. I have to clean this so I can put this back up. that discard was right at the top. I mean, I had no room. I'm gonna beat these eggs. Everything I have in them, I know they're gonna rise. If you want to separate them and beat the egg whites separate, you can do that. I'm not. I'm leaving them whole. I have this, and this is a culture as well, so I know I've got a lot of lift coming in. So see, there's really not a lot of waste. If you have extra and you put it in your compost and you put it in the yard, you're not wasting it. You're not throwing it out. You're not sending it to the trash. You're actually utilizing it. The plants will utilize it. And then, whatever you plant there, you'll get the benefits of it. So you really can't go wrong. I don't know what I want to use to mix it with. I'll try a spoon first. Okay. Now I have to clean my counter here and get my waffle pan and get that ready. Okay, let me go get my waffle pan and I'll be right back. Okay, before you can use your waffle tin, you're going to have to grease these grids. So you need a pastry brush basically to do it. You got to do the top and the bottom or you're going to have a problem with them. So make sure you give it a nice thin coat and you cover everything or you're going to have problems getting them out. Not that you don't at first, but let's say you don't want to make it any more difficult than what it is to get them out. Today we're going to have a scorcher, so maybe this afternoon I'll show you a drink that somebody told me to try. And it's going to be like a smoothie, I guess, but I'm going to use fruit because I'm really fond of fruit and cheeses and whole grains and milk. I mean, if you want to make me happy, my mother couldn't believe. She knew exactly what I wanted, but she didn't like whole grains. So I don't cook like my mother. I actually cook much different than my mother. Though she gave me a strong foundation in the kitchen with Julia Child and James Beard, but she was, you know, right after Julia Child. I don't cook like her. Maybe there's a few things that I do like her, but not that much, because we are actually very different in our cooking. Okay, once you've greased this thoroughly, and you know they're going to stick some, but at least they won't stick to where you have to tear them out. I never remember what I have this on. I usually burn one set. You know what? I'm going to put it on 2 and hope that that's the number I should be at. Now I'm going to have to wait for this. Okay? There's nothing else I can do except we're going to have to wait for this. Now, I talked about what I did in my life. By the way, this is a Cuisinart. I've had it many, many years. I'm sure they're much more modern than the one I have. I'm very fond of it. The batter is already starting to rise, though. I put the culture in it. It's still going. And though it's my discard, I don't have to worry about it needing rises and stuff, because I'm going to cook it, so you don't have to worry about, is it going to be raw? It's not going to be raw because it will be cooked, and I'm using the baking powder as my lift. So the sourdough culture is actually going to be for flavoring that I'm actually using. And I haven't decided. Maybe I should use strawberry syrup. I have strawberry and blueberry. Those are the only 2 I've made so far. I don't know which one of the syrups I want to put on these yet. Still thinking about it. So a lot of you want to know what I have done, what career, or as you women of today would say, what kind of career did I do? I was an artist model. Though I was offered modeling positions, I turned them down. Matter of fact, they came after me. I didn't. I was a little girl and they came after me, a scout. My mother didn't push me forward to try to be a model. I was in a boutique, and she was getting me a dress for my first, I was going to the dance. It was the first time. I was very, very nervous. I went with Debbie. Debbie ended up upchucking and leaving me at the party. She was so nervous. She just went outside and just upchucked everything. So she went home. I was left alone. I was not happy. And they found me in the boutique, and they gave my mother a card, and they came by the house, and they wanted me to model. And so my mother was talking to me about it. She said I would travel and I'd get to wear pretty clothes, and she was, you know, and they'd be makeup. I'd get to play in makeup and all, and I was very enthusiastic. This was going to be fun for me as far as I was concerned. And she said, and they're going to cut your hair. And that was it. No. I put the brakes on. You're going to cut my hair? Ain't going there. No way. And that's when I turned down modeling, which would have been a runway model. And Twiggy was ahead of me. So that gives you the time frame. She actually became the top model on Vogue. And I became an artist model. And nutrition, along with the cooking and everything that I was learning, interested me because I didn't like pain, and every woman told me, when they told me what labor was about, I was going, I want children, but listen, the Bible states, I hated to say, I went to the Bible, if God loves us, why should I be in pain? And people, and complaining about their aches and pains, I said, I don't think God does this to us. And I got into nutrition. Dale Davis walked in just about that time, and I learned. I learned I don't know everything. Don't think a doctor does. Don't think a nutritionist does. Don't think a dietitian does. They don't. They are learning. They're still learning. But the thing is that I got into nutrition because of that. And I took it and I ran with it. And I didn't cook like Adele Davis because she went so extreme on wheat that I knew people wouldn't attack and go that way because the family would sit there and say, I don't like this kind of cooking, I want the other. It's ready, did you notice? It's calling me. I don't know if this is gonna overflow or not, we're gonna find out. So I spent years literally trying to make an adjustment in nutrition to where people would say, yeah, I could eat that. The family would be easier and more amenable to the thoughts of it. This is thick. I mean, it's really giving me a time to get out of this. Oh, I can show you what I'm going through. Okay. And now we'll see how they come out. So after trials and tribulations, you are getting all this information from everything I've had to learn. Because a lot of people don't want to go through. I don't think many people have a husband that would watch his wife take what she made and it didn't work, open the trash and throw it down. He'd say, wait, we can eat this. Okay, my husband was very amenable to me. He helped me, his friends helped me, so I learned a lot. But that's what I did. I was a model for 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 artists. And I told you about that one who wanted to childbirth, and I told her, no way. I told her to go have a child, let your husband take pictures down there, and then, you know. But she said nobody's done it, and I said, I don't care. You know, there's a point, and this is where a lot of people make a mistake with models. You don't think we have any barriers. We do have barriers. We put the stop right there and said, no, I am not going any further. And that's it. You're not going to push me any further. That's it. I had my breaking point, and there were points that I said I will not go. You know, nobody knows how hard it is. I mean, when you go into modeling, it's very difficult because you don't own your body. I know you might live in it, but you dang well don't own it. You know? These are rising quite high. I think I'm going to have to put less dough into them. Remember, this is an experiment. They look really fluffy. They're already this thick. I'm going to say, oh no. But I hope it works. Fingers crossed. So any of you young ladies that are thinking about modeling, you have to put barriers up where you go and you won't go, you know. But understand that when you sign that contract, from the tip of your head to the tip of your toes to the tip of your fingers, they own everything. They tell you to exercise, they tell you to diet, they tell you to do this, they tell you a lot of things that they're going to do to you, and you don't have a choice. But I didn't expect you to go that high. Wait till you see these. Do. So, this afternoon, if you don't know, I'm going to be doing a live video because I'm putting my shopping list together. And for you who would like to know, I am going to name 2 dishes that I'd like to make. Now, if you wish to comment and tell me thumbs up or thumbs down on what I'm going to tell you, you let me know, or at least you can wait and you'll see it next week, because I found 2 recipes and they sound so good, and they're different, you know. So I figured I'll go ahead and give you the titles of them as I put my shopping list together. I've already got like 10 things on it, and it's getting longer. Knowing me, it's always getting longer. That is the bad thing about being somebody who enjoys good food. Okay, hold on. Yes, I know you're calling me. I'll be there in a minute. These are huge. See what I mean? They are fluffy. They didn't brown, no. They're very fluffy. Like I said, we experiment. That's what women do. We get in the kitchen and we try new ideas. I just don't know if ShopRite has bass on one of the recipes, so I might have to find another fish to do. Here they are. Look how thick they are. Oh my God. I don't think we'll be eating many of these. I usually make a double batch, but because one son is working today and the other one can take a lunch. One can't take a lunch and the other one can. But he did take those chocolate walnut bites. He said, "These are mine, Mommy." I said, "Okay." He packed those up. He said, "I am having this." So these are going to be thicker if you use your discard. They don't have much color on them. Well, that's all right. I don't care about that. I don't want them burnt. And that's my whole thing. But we'll break one open. I'm just letting it cool, and then we're going to try one and see what it looks like. If these are more filling, this would be great, because it'll make it easy for a lot of you women who sit there and make waffles on the weekend and you can't get to church. Now, I remember the first time I got my hair cut, and I cried through the whole thing. When I was little, we didn't have air conditioning in the house. Because of me, we ended up with air conditioning in Texas. But the temperature gets up 90, 100 plus. I used to develop these quarter-sized pus pockets all in my hair. And my hair was down to my knees. So I had really long hair. And my mother finally, with all the medication and everything, they finally figured out that I was having trouble with the sun. They called it an allergy against the heat and the sun. If I go out in the sun too long, I burn, I blister, and I get pale again, and I don't get a lot of color, I end up burning. And so I had to go to the beauty parlor. Now you picture, my hair is down to my knees. When I went to the beauty parlor, they cut my hair this short all over my head. I cried. I cried so hard. But it had to be done because I had a problem. And that's when my mother got her air conditioners, and she was dancing all over the place. She ordered them up here because they didn't have them down there, except in the businesses. And that's why I have a vendetta. Don't cut my hair. I have a beautician, and she has long hair, and she said because I have gray hair isn't as strong. It gets a little on the weaker side. So we cut my hair to a length to where I could still have it long, though it's not as long down my back as I've always had it, but it's long still, and my hair doesn't break. And that is why I keep my hair the way I do. I've never colored it. My mother wanted to color my hair. The beautician asked me, did I want to highlight it? And when she took a good look at my hair, she said, "Sandy, you don't need any highlight. Your gray highlights because of the way I'm gray." So she says, when you let your hair down, it looks like your hair was intentionally highlighted the way it was. She says, you got a lot of color still in your hair. And so I don't do anything. I wash my hair with the shampoo and conditioner, and I get my hair trimmed, but that's all I do. I don't do anything else with my hair. Curling it? That's another thing. My mother, when my hair started growing out, I had to, you know those curlers with the bristles? That's all they had at that time. You know the bristles, those things? I Hate those curlers. And then they had the pink things. They stuck it in against your head to hold that curler in your head. I had to sleep in those every night. As my hair grew out, I was so mad. And my hair grew out enough where I didn't have to do that anymore. And I got it down to my waist. And then my mother wanted me to be like all the other girls, go to the beauty parlor and get your hair done. And she took me to the beauty parlor and she got my bangs cut this way. And my hair was cut here in an arch and curled. I had to sleep in curlers every night, those stupid things. I hated those bristles. Who can get a good night's sleep with those things sticking in your head? I don't know how women did it. Anyway, so my mother said, "You're angry. I will never take you to the beauty parlor again. Do you hear me?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I didn't disrespect my mother. I said, "Yes, ma'am." I was happy as a lark. Don't you ever take me to a beauty parlor again. I would not go. I was so happy she said that. And she never took me to the beauty parlor again. I was happy as a lark. I don't know how these women used to do it. And the hairspray that stank. Oh my God, I hated the smell of that. Oh, it was horrible. And everybody thought I was immature because I didn't like it. Hey, I got my hair. I must know something. I got my hair. Not colored, not falling out, nothing. The only thing I ever done is trim it and cut it, nothing else. And that's the history of me and my hair. And my mother says she'll never take me to the beauty parlor again. Man, I don't think I've been to the beauty parlor 20 times in my life. And most of that time was with my mother. She drugged me. I remember one time seeing an elderly lady. She must have been in Beeville and been one of the founding families. She was that old, and I'm talking in the 50s, and Beeville was a small town. So the Navy base, Chase Field, was out town. I think it's on the King's Ranch, if I remember correctly. And they had a contract for $1 every year for 99 years. When the contract went, they closed that port down. Not a port, it's really a base. It was known as Chase Field. We had a lot of Navy personnel come through the town. That's baking grease that I'm pouring out. I do not cook with it. And as it absolutely states I have to use it, I do not use it. These smell nice. They're on the pale side, but that's all right. I'm going to put syrup on them. I'm not going to use maple syrup. I'm going to either use strawberry or blueberry, which I think will be nice. Give it a nice contrast from the color that it is. Because I don't want to make them any darker because I'll burn them. I know me. So while these are cooking, let's try one of these and see how they taste. Because I use the sour discard, sorry. Ooh. They're fine. Okay. Well, we got more than 8. We got 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them. Not 8. All right, listen. I'll see you later this afternoon when I'm doing my shopping list. You take care and enjoy your morning. Bye-bye.